Hey guys, welcome back to Willpower Garage. Today we're working on a Dodge Chrysler Ram wind module. So if your car doesn't want to start or it starts and stalls, this is the video for you. Okay guys, so I'm going to make this a relatively quick video. Obviously, first thing you need to do is you need to remove the wind module from your vehicle. It's held on with 4 torque screws. Basically the lower trim panel, you need to take that down. There's 2 7mm on the bottom, and then the rest of the panel is just sort of snapped into place. Once you have your wind module in hand, there are 2 connectors in the back here. This one is just, with the press clip, pull it out. Same with this, there's a clip on the one side for the coax cable, take that out. Then you can bring this thing onto the bench. Now it's relatively easy to get apart. I have a small flathead screwdriver. You just need to be very careful, but you're going to get in between here and basically just try to pry this off, working your way around. Like so. Once that's loose, this cover will come off and reveal the circuit board. What we're actually interested in is, if you look down in here, these are the contacts for the ignition switch itself. So the hard and difficult part is there are actually 5 soldered pins here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that you need to desolder to remove this circuit board. Now, just to make this video a little easier, I already went ahead and desoldered these. You can use either a solder sucker, which is a plunger type tool. You heat up the pin, push a button, it sucks the solder out into the tool. Or you can use solder wick, which is sort of a copper or brass braid with flux in it. Hold it against, heat it, it'll wick out the solder here. You can even use the soldering iron and like a compressed air to try to blow the solder out of there. But either way, you need to remove the solder from these 5 pins. Be careful though, you don't want to damage them. They are the pins that go to the coils inside of here, and they are very fragile wires underneath. So just be mindful of that. Once you have those pins desoldered, these white clips around the perimeter just come out, and then you can remove the circuit board. So like I said, this is the area of interest to us. So what actually happens over time is the weight of the key sitting in here, bouncing around with your keychain that has way too many items on it, causes this part here to wiggle. And over time, when you're hitting bumps, these little fingers here start to compress, and you don't make good contact with the contacts anymore. So, like I said, the easy fix for this, because this module is anywhere between $200 and $600, not to mention it also needs to be reprogrammed to the vehicle if you replace it. This is a nice easy fix. So once you have this, go ahead. I like to use just Scotch-Brite. You can use very fine wet dry sandpaper, but just make sure these are clean. I then will take my screwdriver, get it underneath all the pins, and light pressure, pulling them all even, I'm going to pull these pins up. You don't want to go too far, you don't want to break them, but just enough so that there will be nice tension on the circuit board again. As for the circuit board, a little bit of Scotch-Brite. Don't want to go too much. Just lightly clean it up. Make sure everything is even. And the last step before you put this back in, since we did have to desolder these, clean the board where all the connections are, either with a flux remover or alcohol and a little scrub brush. Rinse it off, dry it, make sure it's nice and clean. But from there, this is ready to go back on. So to reinstall it, it's really just the reverse of how we took it off. This guy's going to go in here like so. Again, make sure that the pins are in their right place. You can check to make sure that your contacts are making good connection in there. And last but not least is we're now going to go and resolder those pins on. Alright, so at my solder bench here, like I said, we're going to solder these 5 connections. While I have it out, this is what solder wick looks like. Like I said, it's sort of just a braid there. Hold it on the pin, heat the pin and the solder wick, and it'll pull out the solder that's left behind. Another thing I should point out, use a high quality solder. Make sure it's a rosin core and not acid core. Acid core does not cooperate very well with electronic devices. It'll actually start eating away at the metal. Acid core is more for plumbing. So make sure you have a good rosin core solder. So those of you who have never soldered before, it's pretty straightforward. What you want to do is you want to heat the pad and the pin, and then slowly apply solder like so. You want to make sure there's no divots. It might sink in a little bit. If so, add a little bit more solder. But it does not take a lot to make a good connection. Get the last 2 here. Again, I'm heating both the pin and the pad. I'm applying the solder to the pin, not to the soldering iron, because I want it to wick down into it. And that's it. Those are my solder connections. You see I got a nice little fillet on all those. So I'm going to now clean off the flux residue with a little flux remover, and then we can put our cover back on. Alright, last step, snap on the back cover again. Just be careful of the pins coming out of the back, but it's really just that simple. Just snaps it back into place. And now we're ready to take our repaired wind module back to the vehicle and should not have any problems ever again. Alright guys, I hope you liked this video. As always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my videos. And if you have any questions about this repair, please just leave me a comment below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Alright guys, see you next time. Bye.